Budget Committee meeting to order for the purpose of conducting a public hearing on the 2025-26 fiscal year budget. The total proposed budget as advertised reflects $904,145,990 in expenses as follows. County General Fund, $174,007,520. Solid Waste Fund, $10,509,041. Highway Department Highway Fund, $15,942,102. Drug Control Fund, $196,150. General Debt Service Fund, $67,081,676. Rural Debt Service Fund, $42,198,228. General Purpose School Fund, $565,306,797. Central Cafeteria Fund, $20,827,302. Extended School Program Fund, $8,077,174, for a total of $904,145,990. This year is a reappraisal year for assessments on all properties in the county. As required by law, the new fiscal year tax rate is required to be revenue neutral. For the 2024-2025 fiscal year, the county's property tax rate is $1.88 per $100 of assessed value. To become a revenue neutral tax rate, the 2024-26 fiscal 2025-2026 fiscal year certified tax rate will be set at $1.24. To meet the proposed expenditures in all funds, the Budget Committee voted on May 13th, 2025 to recommend a proposed tax rate of $1.34. The proposed tax rates by fund are as follows.
You can just read this and this because this makes the $1.34.
Okay. The County General Fund, the new proposed rate is 28 cents. Solid Waste Sanitation Fund is 3 cents. Drug Control Fund, 0. Highway Public Works Fund, 0. General Debt Service Fund, 15 cents. Rural Debt Service Fund, 11. General Purpose School Fund, 77 cents. Central Cafeteria Fund, 0. Extended School Program Fund, 0, for a total of $1.34. At this time, I will open the floor for the public hearing. Those wishing to speak are asked to come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and keep your comments relative to the proposed budget and correspondence tax rate. The first person is Frank Lampus.
My name is Frank Lampus. I live here in Franklin. My interest has always been election integrity, so my questions concern the budget of the Williamson County Election Commission. This year's election budget makes no sense to me, as the commission is seeking more than $250,000 in money above their fiscal year 2025 proposed budget of almost $1.4 million just to finish out the year. Their request per resolution 62511 that I know will come up at the next meeting for almost $300,000 comes on a year with just 3 customary elections and centers on 4 categories: temporary personnel, part-time personnel, overtime pay, and election worker personnel. These are categories for which the commission has more than sufficient background numbers upon which to make budget recommendations. So I don't understand the immense overage. This pattern of submitting an operating budget and then coming back to the well late in the year for no questions asked additional money, to me, is ludicrous. I understand this is how the mayor and the budget department have instructed the commission's budgeting process to go. Why, I don't know. As a businessman who has to defend every budget and overage during my career, I find this process one that encourages lazy budgeting, which ultimately leads to exploding budgets and tax increases. I would like at some point some answers to my questions. Thank you.
The next person is Sheriff Jeff Hughes.
Hi, Jeff Hughes, Sheriff of Williamson County. Good evening, Madam Chair, committee members, and commissioners. I come before you tonight representing the 350 men and women of the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, and also the citizens of Williamson County who elected me to lead this esteemed agency and to safeguard their safety and well-being. Just as people move to this county for our top-ranked schools, I'm convinced they are also moving here because of the safety and security we provide. Our consistently low crime rates aren't a coincidence. They are the direct result of dedicated and professional public safety workforce countywide. Premier public safety doesn't happen by chance, but it comes with a cost. It requires highly trained employees, supported with the right tools, equipment, and technology. Like me, I know each of you and the mayor want what's best for our community. But how can the Williamson County Sheriff's Office expect to recruit and retain quality employees when our compensation is significantly lower than neighboring law enforcement agencies around us? As I've recently shared with you, Brentwood, Franklin, Nolensville, Murfreesboro are addressing significant pay proposals, recognizing that public safety must be prioritized. Meanwhile, we've spent months awaiting a study that, once released, will likely be outdated come July 1st. We've invested time and money on a salary comparison that targets a percentile that still doesn't make us competitive. Is it reasonable to think that a quality candidate would choose our sheriff's office over a neighboring agency who pays significantly more? And what does it cost us financially and institutionally when tenured employees who are well trained and experienced leave us for another agency so they can better support their families? During my campaign, issues related to staffing shortages, morale concerns, and pay compression plagued the sheriff's office. In my first year, we've made significant progress addressing staffing, having filled 60 vacant positions, but compensation remains the core issue. The funding that was allocated for addressing compensation does not allow for real movement on compression, and we're stuck in a cycle of playing catch-up with starting pay while we still lag behind. I know every department wants pay raises, and I support fair compensation for all employees, but public safety is different. That's not just my opinion. It's already recognized in our pay structure. We have a separate pay scale for sheriff's office personnel. That's for a reason. The job is unlike any other. Rest assured that I will be relentless when it comes to fighting for better pay and benefits for the men and women who put their life on the line every day. We all want great parks, great libraries, great schools, but the reality is without public safety, nothing else really matters unless our citizens are safe. Let me share something with you that sets the law enforcement community apart. All of us would lay down our lives for our loved ones, but the men and women in uniform are willing to do that for people they've likely never even met. That's who they are. That's what they do. I respect each of you for your public service. I know politics is hard, and it's getting harder. But leadership is about setting priorities, and public safety should be at the top of that list. In closing, I respectfully ask each of you to support competitive pay for our deputies, not because they've asked for it, but because they've earned it. Because this agency should not settle for being adequate when it has the potential to be elite. The citizens of Williamson County expect and deserve nothing less. Thank you for your time and for your continued commitment to our community.
Next speaker is Elise Frell.
Good evening. I'm Elise Frell, and I live in Franklin. I'm concerned for a lot of reasons, mainly because I brought my kids here because I knew that they couldn't afford to live or raise a family where I used to live. And now I'm finding that they're having the same issue here. And that's really a problem for me because it's like I want them here. I want to be close to my grandkids. I want to be close to my kids. But what I saw happen where I used to live is people couldn't afford to live in the county where they worked, so they went to another county after that. Then that became too expensive, and then they went to the other county after that, and people were driving 2 to 3 hours a day to where they work because they couldn't afford to live where they work. And what Sheriff Hughes was just talking about is it's usually the non-elite workers. And when I talk about non-elite, I'm talking about non-lawyers, non-doctors, the people that aren't making, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that can't, that are working here. They want to live here. They want to be able to work and live in the same place, but they can't. And so the tax rate here, what I don't want to see is it, again, making it so that it is unaffordable for people who are just basic people like us to be able to live here. And, you're going to have a problem with getting services here, good services here, like Chef Hughes was just talking about. My son's a teacher. He can't live in Williamson County. He can't even teach in Williamson County. They don't pay enough. So he has to be in another county and live in another county. So, that's just the way it works when you're not critically analyzing the budget. And for me, I'm watching you not take opportunities to cut costs and use other revenue sources so that you're not putting the burden on the taxpayer who is the least able to afford what's going on. So I just am asking you to critically analyze, shift burdens, shift priorities, use other revenue sources, do whatever you have to do, but don't stop laying it on the taxpayer. Y'all act like you're not taxpayers. You are. Your kids are going to be taxpayers. Your grandkids are going to be taxpayers. So don't lay that burden on them. Think of other ways, more creative ways to get where we need to go without raising the burden on the everyday person.
Anyone else? The public hearing is now closed. Is there any other business for consideration by the Budget Committee?
Yes, there is, Madam Chairman. We have one item that we have to take up in going through the contracts. We left one out, $60,000 to the Dregs County Commission voted for this last year, and it was not put in for this year.
You gotta make a motion.
Rogers needs to make a
Yep,
motion.
but I'll be glad to make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay,
That's the only item tonight.
okay. Does anybody
Give
got
the
it?
amount. Did you give the amount?
Yeah,
or
and you
send
need to
it
put the
me?
amount in the budget.
Let me find your speak.
There you go. So amending the proposed county commission budget, an additional $72,000 to cover this contract that was approved in February of '25. The total new proposed budget would be $1,849,065. I can also give you the rate for the total general fund if you need.
Okay. That would be in the minutes.
The total general fund new amended budget would be proposed $174,079,520.
Okay. Any more questions about this? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 3-0. Is that it?
The minutes that you
Oh.
were mailed today.
Yeah. We need to approve the minutes from yesterday, June 2nd. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
See any changes or corrections to the minutes? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 3-0. Is that all?
The only other thing for the people that spoke and the others in the audience, we're still going through the budget. There's changes that will be made. Next Monday night at the county commission meeting, the budget, somebody could come up and speak on it in the public sector, but that's not on the agenda at the county commission meeting next week. The next meeting that we will have that deals with the budget will be on the 20th of this month.
9 a.m.
at 9 a.m. So between now and the 20th, we will gain and receive more information. We're still waiting on the numbers from the state, for an example, on public education. We don't have it, that final number. Hopefully we'll get it before then. Last year we got it like 2 or 3 days ahead of time. We're looking at other streams of revenue as we've gone through this whole process. Phoebe is crunching a lot of numbers, suggestions made by county commissioners. So all of that will come to a final head on June the 20th at 9 a.m. But I do appreciate all the remarks and the comments that were made, and we'll see where we are at the end of the day. So what, Madam Chairman, you've done tonight, you've given the public a chance to speak. We've taken up this one item that was overlooked, and that's it for the evening.
All in business.
Move to adjourn.
Budget be adjourned.
Yes.